The closer we get to July 1st, the more you have to think John Tavares might end up leaving the Toronto Maple Leafs to go sign somewhere else. Yes, I do realize that there is still a great possibility, and I do think there's a great possibility that John Tavares could sign with the Leafs, but the closer we get to the July 1st free agency date, the more likely it is that he ends up leaving. And it would be sad to see him go because he's been a great Toronto Maple Leaf since being the biggest free agent signing in 2018, signing for 7 years, 11 million AAV for $88 million total. So let's talk about the potential contract, what it might look like for him to stay with the Maple Leafs, or what it might look like if he's able to leave or wants to leave and go somewhere else. I'm Justin Ehrenberg. Let's talk about it here on Justin Sports. Welcome back to another video. If you like what you see, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe because, listen, that's the only way the channel is going to grow, and I really hope you guys enjoy what you guys are seeing. And if you like what you see, be sure to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and X because, listen, if you like the content that you see here, you're going to love what you see over there. It's just a matter of time before you find it. Now, let's talk about John Tavares and the Toronto Maple Leafs because, yes, John Tavares, while he's been a terrific Maple Leaf and a great captain in his time, it might be coming to an end. So let's look at first his stats as a part of the blue and white. He's played 515 career games. He has 222 career goals, 271 career assists, and for 493 points. So just under a point per game in those 7 years since signing in 2018. Now, he's been a great goal scorer as well. He's scored over 30 3 times in his time with the Maple Leafs, over 20 another 3 times. Only 19 goals in 2020, 2021. That was obviously the COVID shortened year where it was just the Canadian team, so he would have hit 20 in a regular season as well. Now, in the playoffs, he's made the playoffs with the Maple Leafs all 7 years, but he's only made it out of the first round twice in those 7 years. First against the Tampa Bay Lightning back in 2023, and then this year against the Ottawa Senators. And then they take the Florida Panthers to Game 7 of Round 2, which looks like honestly, outside of Edmonton, the toughest competition the Florida Panthers have played, making a lot of Leafs fans question whether or not they should just run it back with the same core four, the same coach, just changing up the president and see if it works. Because honestly, they gave the Florida Panthers their best shot for their money, except for the Edmonton Oilers. But let's talk about that. We're not here to talk about just that for today's video. But yeah, John Tavares, obviously in his career, we go with his career points right now. He has 1,184 career games played, 494 career goals, closing in on that 500 mark, and then 1,114 points. The man has been really productive as a first overall pick his whole career. He has not slowed down as it's kind of speed has dissipated. He's never been fast, but it's extremely dipping off here as we go. And he put up 38 goals this past season. He was just under a point per game with 74 points in 75 games. And that's really what I want to talk about because obviously we know that he is an aging superstar or used to be superstar. He's still a star in the league, 34 years old. He is going to turn 35 in September, and what a new deal might look like for him. Personally, I know what has been referenced a lot is the Chris Tanev deal, maybe 6 years, $4.5 million. I know that there's a couple of reports saying that's highly unlikely. I do think if the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to bring him back, it's going to have to be around the $4.5 to $5 million range on a longer term AAV, like 5 years, 4 years, maybe, to take him into the 40s and just say, we know you're worth more right now, just like Tampa Bay did with Yanni Gourde. We know you're worth more right now, but we want to keep you for the long haul, and we want to try to maximize our chance of winning a Stanley Cup. So let's lower your AAV, and let's try to add other pieces around you to make the team better. That's the pitch that the Toronto Maple Leafs are trying to make to him, and he just has to either decide whether or not he's going to take a lesser AAV and just ride it out longer term, or does he want more money up front and then decide whether or not he wants to sign another contract. Maybe it's a short-term AAV, like a Joe Pavelski a couple years ago, where he signed 3x7 with Dallas, and it turned out to be a great contract for both him and the Dallas Stars. But I just want to take a look because this is just a quick video for you guys about the whole situation. Obviously, there are some comparables, and for John Tavares, I want to state he's not a $5 million player in this league. Like, you can sit there and tell me he's slow. You can sit there and tell me he's not good enough to win at the biggest level. Okay. But when the man scores 38 goals and puts up 74 points in an age 34 year, he's not $5 million. We saw what Brock Nelson just signed for with the Colorado Avalanche, and he's 34, or he's turning 34 as well this year. He just got $7.75 million for 3 years for 56 points this past season and 26 goals. John Tavares, if you're sitting there, you have to think that he's licking his chops, knowing that if Nelson signed for 7.75, Tavares can easily get 8 to 8.5 at the minimum from any other team. That's why it's such a pay disparity when thinking about what the hometown discount is going to really be, and is he going to be worth it, or is he going to want to take it as well? Because in the long haul, you're probably going to end up looking back at when it's like when he's 40, if you're the Toronto Maple, if they do sign him, I mean, and you're going to say this why is this $5 million in the books still, or $4.5 million in the books? Well, it's because when you when you tried to win the Stanley Cup, and maybe they win a Stanley Cup in the next 2 to 3 years, John Tavares was worth a whole lot more than $4.5 million to $5 million. And you just have to realize that you're going to have to eat that eventually. That's the thing with these longer term, lower AAV deals, is you're just going to have to realize you're going to have to eat some money in the back end unless you're able to facilitate a trade with them. And then for the other comparable, because also the 2025 center class is so weak compared to other center classes from past years. We have Matt Duchene, we have Sam Bennett, we had Brock Nelson, and we have John Tavares. And you know what? I'm going to throw Jonathan Toews in that mix because he's probably the next best one, other than Mikael Granlund maybe. But yeah, those are the centers that really stand out this year on the market. So you know what, supply and demand is really going to come into effect here, and while teams have a lot more cap space because the cap is going up, everything is going to change this summer, and that is also reasons why I just don't know if $4.5 million for 5 years or whatever it is would entice John Tavares to stay, knowing that there is a lot more money elsewhere with contending teams as well. So Sam Bennett, the guy that's going on this generational contract run, only had 25 goals and 51 points in the regular season. Now, the playoffs are a whole different game. Obviously, we know he has 14 goals, 12 of them on the road. A Stanley Cup playoffs record for most goals on the road, 21 points in 21 games, and he's expected to get upwards of $10 million. $10 million. So, if that's the case, John Tavares has to be thinking my price range at least. Now, obviously, Sam Bennett is 28 years old, but John Tavares has to be thinking my price range is at least a floor of $8 million if I'm going to test the open market, and a ceiling possibly of $10 million if it creates a bidding war. If not, I don't know why you would. I don't know why you would even consider going to the open market. But yeah, so this is just turning into a harder situation by the day, and I just don't think that John Tavares, if he is unsigned on July 1st by the Toronto Maple Leafs, he is going to remain a Toronto Maple Leaf at the end of the day. But without further ado, that's all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys talk about it in the comments, because listen, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this as well. I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.